What's going on, guys? This is Aaron here, bringing you guys PSBL week number 9, week recap. This is the final week of the conference battles. Everything else, week 10 to 13 are going to be non-conference games right before the playoffs, which is about 4 weeks away from right now. 3 weeks from what you guys are watching. 4 weeks for me. But anyway, it is a very exciting time for PSBL. We already have people clinched after these 4 games alone, which I'll go over when we get to the standings. I'll go over that with you guys. Is there any more announcements that I can think of? No, none at the current moment. If there is, I will discuss it at the end of the video. But anyway, we'll go over the 4 battles that happened today. And today is actually Saturday. There will not be any extensions, so there's gonna have to be 5 more battles tomorrow. Which I know at least 2 of them are doing them tomorrow for sure. I haven't heard anything else from anyone else, but we'll definitely see how that goes. But anyway. The first battle is the Buffalo Bufalons versus the, Tampa Bay Infernapes. Wow, I'm sorry, Omega. But the Bufalons brought Clefable, Infernape, Lander, Celesteela, Cofagrigus, and Lantern, while the Infernapes brought Drifblim, Tapu Fini, Heatran, Excelgor, Zapdos, and Bronzong. Where we have Heatran and Bronzong starting off against Lantern and Cofagrigus. Goes for an ally switch, wanting to see what the Bufalons want to do. An Icy Wind comes out, slowing down both the Bronzong and the Heatran. As we see a Z move onto the Cofagrigus, actually lives it. Both of us were actually pretty surprised about that. And the Papa Berry shows up, and we see Rain Dance on the Cofagrigus to weaken the fire moves from the Heatran. Scald actually burns the Bronzong turn 1, which is very interesting to see as a Trick Room comes out as well as a Sunny Day. Earth Power, Lantern is able to live that pretty nicely as a knockoff onto the Bronzong, gets rid of the Citrus Berry, as Scald onto the Heatran does do a quarter still, even in the sun. We see a Landorus switch in as a Metal Sound, Earth Power, not going to do a thing to the Landorus, as another Rain Dance onto the Cofagrigus, forcing the Bronzong to go for another Sunny Day, and another Eruption. Cofagrigus still able to live on 7% and goes for another Rainy Day, which now that I'm looking at this was kind of pointless anyway, because Bronzong would just go for the Sunny Day first turn anyway. But anyway, goes for a Volt Switch on the Heatran as Bronzong is now at 9% after the burn damage. Landorus comes out, another ally switch as we see a Rock Slide instead of an Earth Power, which actually gets a crit on the Heatran. But unfortunately, the Hidden Power Ground does not do a thing to the Bronzong because of Levitate, and Overheat does 71 to the Clefable. However, the Rock Slide the very next turn takes out both Heatran and Bronzong. As we see a Wish on Clefable, Drifblim and Tapu Fini come out. Fini getting the Misty Terrain, Drifblim getting the Misty Seeds, switches out into Lantern, want to see what he wants to do. As a Tailwind Moonblast, we see that it is a Specs, as in fact does kill the Clefable. Celesteela comes out, switches out into Zapdos from the Tapu Fini, as Shadow Ball takes out the Lantern. Leech Seed onto the Zapdos, getting it some health, but also getting rid of Zapdos' health in return. We see Rain Dance on the Drifblim. HP Ice takes out the Landorus in 1 turn, as Rock Slide does do about a quarter to each, 33% of the Zapdos, and we see even more health being returned to the Celesteela. Tapu Fini comes out, switches out onto the Zapdos, as a Shadow Ball onto the Celesteela, is able to get the special defense drop, which is very unfortunate, as we see a crit onto the Drifblim. Celesteela does have leftovers. Tailwind again, as we see a Z move from the Infernape onto the Tapu Fini, taking it out in 1 shot, which is huge, as a Leech Seed onto the Drifblim, giving Celesteela back up to full health. Zapdos comes out yet again, goes for a Wide Guard, predicting a discharge, but a Shadow Ball as well as a Thunderbolt takes out the Infernape, wasting that Wide Guard if he would have gone for the Rock Slide. Thunderbolt not able to kill the Celesteela at -1 special defense. Rock Slide not able to kill the Excelgor switching in or the Zapdos at all. Encore again, but it doesn't matter as Thunderbolt gets rid of the Celesteela, and Infernapes do in fact win, and the Bufalons lose yet again. Next up, we have the Magmitans versus the Kartanas. Kartanas brought Tapu Lele, Mega Alakazam, Regice, Alolan Muck, Regirock, and Sceptile versus the Magmitans, Ludicolo, Politoed, Tapu Koko, Crocodile, Mawile, and Kingdra. We have Politoed and the Ludicolo taking on the Regice and the Alolan Muck. We see the Drizzle switches out into Mawile, trying to get that Intimidate boost onto the Muck, as we see a Scald do 20% and in fact gets the burn, which is very unfortunate. Poison Jab doesn't do a thing to the Mawile, as we actually see Hail on the Regice. Burn damage is doing its thing to the Muck, as Regice eats the Scald very nicely, but not so much the Iron Head. But the Aurora Veil does come out, which is the important thing that Hoobi wanted to do. As we see Ice Body on the Regice, as Muck again getting burned and hurt by the hail damage. Crocodile switches out, gets the Intimidate boost Intimidate drop onto the Muck, which is the most important thing, as now Fire Punch is only doing 14%, trying to get the burn onto the Mawile, but unfortunately is not able to do so, as Mawile does go for the Swords Dance and switches out into the Politoed from the Crocodile, as we see a Protect on the Regirock, which obviously doesn't do a thing, as now Fire Punch is only doing 8% in the rain. Finally decides to switch out into Mawile as a Scald onto the Regirock, not able to burn. Neither is the Iron Head able to flinch, as a Sandstorm comes out yet again, but this is also helping Mawile out in a way. Star-Lord comes out with the Electric Surge as another Protect on the Regirock. Sucker Punch, very nice play by the Magmitans, as Psychic is unfortunately not able to kill the Mawile, as we see the Hypapa Berry living on 1%, helping out the Magmitans so much, as we see it Protect this turn, as we goes for a Thunderbolt onto the Regirock and kills the Regirock with Iron Head, leaving it a 6 versus 5 now. Mega Alakazam switches out as Politoed switches in, getting the Drizzle back up, as we see a Trace Intimidate, lowering the attack on the Mawile, allowing him to live on 7%. Moonblast not able to kill the Mawile, as Psychic's not able to kill the Politoed. Sucker Punch again not going to do a thing because of Sunny Day Mega Alakazam. Now I've seen everything, as a Moonblast is finally able to kill that Mawile, and now Scald is not able to kill the Tapu Lele, but that does allow Crocodile to come in. Fearing a Scarf, decides to switch out into Alolan Muck, as well as Sceptile, getting the Protect up with Politoed, goes for an Earthquake, takes out the Muck, doesn't do a whole lot to the Sceptile though, and that does allow Lele to come in, get that Misty Psychic Terrain boost for the Mega Sceptile, forcing a switch out into Ariba the Ludicolo, and Kingdra switches out, still with the sun up, as Psychic is just able to kill the Kingdra, but also killing himself in the process. As we also see Swords Dance on the Sceptile, and Mega Alakazam comes out yet again. Leaf Blade onto the protecting Ludicolo is not going to do a thing, but Psychic is able to kill the Politoed, as now Coco comes out. Ariba's able to live the Leaf Blade and goes for Hydro Vortex, predicting a Protect on the Mega Alakazam. Hydro Pump unfortunately misses the Regice, as Sceptile's able to live the Skydrop, as Blizzard takes out the Ludicolo, but Coco is able to live. Leaf Blade again kills the Crocodile, however that does mean that Sceptile's open for a U-turn, taking out the Sceptile, and a Blizzard miss in the rain. That is huge. Unfortunately, Thunderbolt's not able to kill, but Blizzard this time connects and wins it for the Magmitans 1-0. Always love watching these two battle. They always put on quite a show, and they are just hilarious to watch bicker at the end of the battle. I always love watching these two fight. It always brings out the best in them. The Season 2 champions together, great rivals apart. Love watching them, and just another great game. Lucy, I think, really stepped it up in this one. I almost said slacking. He's been kind of on the down low this past season in doubles, because it's not his thing. It's not a lot of people's things, but it is Hoobi's thing, and he Lucy really stepped it up, just try to beat Hoobie, and just try to shut up Hoobie, but it was a great battle. I love watching these two battle. But we're going to move on to the next one, where we see the Holland Heracross taking on the Villa Tauros. The Tauros brought Genesect, Goodra, Pelipper, Cradilly, Tornadus T, and Mega Swampert, while the Heracross brought Fortress, Necrozma, Megasbro, Venusaur, Salamence, and Volcarona. We have Fortress and Necrozma starting off against Genesect and Pelipper, getting up the rain and getting the special attack boost. Goes for a Bug Buzz, taking out the Necrozma the very first turn as a Scald hits the Fortress for over 60%, but we see a sunny day onto the Fortress, forcing a switch out into Goodra as Volcarona goes for a Fiery Dance, only does 20% to the Goodra, and Pelipper goes for the Icy Wind, I'm assuming to predict the Quiver Dance on the Volcarona, but Volt Switch onto the Pelipper does do over half and switches out into Venusaur. Volcarona switches out into Goodra as we see a Protect onto the Pelipper as a Giga Drain, not going to do a whole lot as we see Rain Dance on the Goodra and a Flamethrower taking out the Fortress, Giga Drain taking out the Pelipper, but we see Life Orb on the Venusaur that allows Tornadus and Salamence to come out, gets the Intimidate boost, switches out into Mega Bro onto a Hurricane, as well as Rock Slide onto the Tornadus and hits the Goodra as well. Ice Beam does do just about 17%, but Slowbro dies to the following Hurricane, and Goodra dies to the Habanberry, Salamence, holding the Habanberry still, even at 52%. Genesect comes back out. We see a Supersonic Sky Strike taking out the Salamence in the first turn, as Ice Beam is not able to take out the Venusaur, but Weather Ball is able to take out the Tornadus. Very nice bring by Cody with bringing the Weather Ball. Very, very interesting to see. Swampert comes out, forces a switch out into Cradilly as he Mega Evolves. Fiery Dance only does 27 to the Cradilly, but does get the special attack drop and raise, and misses on the Rock Slide, but does kill the Venusaur. Swampert goes for a Protect, predicting a Giga Drain, which in fact does come out as Rock Tomb is able to hit and kill the Volcarona, all in 9 turns. So thank you guys for a very quick battle. But Sierra now has 8 wins, the only team in the league that has 8 wins, which is very, very nice to see in my side. But now we'll go on to the last battle, for now, obviously. We do have a couple more later. The Gainesville Goodras taking on the Orlando Solar Beams. Goodras brought Garchomp, Steelix, Mega Steelix, Jellicent, Thunderous T, Aromatisse, and Deoxys Attack, Jirachi, Azumarill, Mega Aerodactyl, Frostlass, Venomoth, and Gourgeist for the Solar Beams. We have Frostlass and Mega Aerodactyl coming out against Aromatisse and Jellicent. Mega Evolution and Protect for the Jellicent, see what he wants to do, as Spikes come out. Very, very nice play. We actually see Whirlwind on the Mega Aerodactyl, switching out into Aromatisse, as Jellicent decides to switch out into Aromatisse, eats a Shadow Ball pretty nicely, but does get the special defense drop, as Ironhead will almost kill the Frostlass, but unfortunately it has the Sash, and Ironhead almost kills the Aerodactyl, but it lives on 9%. Another Whirlwind to the Aromatisse, this time switches out into Jellicent, who gets hurt by a Spike, goes for a Protect on the Frostlass and a Protect on the Steelix, as Rock Slide only does about 16% to the Jellicent, as Scald's not able to kill the Frostlass. Another Rock Slide doesn't do a whole lot to either again. Shadow Ball does do about 32% to the Jellicent, but Jellicent kills the Aerodactyl with Scald, and Steelix kills the Frostlass with Ironhead. Gourgeist and Azumarill come out, and this is where it goes downhill for the Goodras, as we see a Z Trick or Treat getting the Omni Boost and making the Steelix a Ghost type, as we see a Belly Drum gets the attack raised to the Azumarill, as we only see the Recover on the Jellicent and an Ironhead onto the Azumarill, which does do great damage, but the damage has already been done to the Goodras, for a Shadow Ball is able to kill the Steelix at 50, and a Toxic onto the Gorgeist will matter down the road. Thunderous switches out, thinking he can live with the Reflect up. Nope, just dies, unfortunately. As we see, Giga Drain not going to do a thing to the Protect on Jellicent. As Aromatisse gets hurt by a Spike as well, Aqua Jet is able to crit, which is unfortunate for the Goodras, as Shadow Ball only does 43 as a Toxic onto the Azumarill, able to whittle it down little by little. Garchomp now comes out, goes for another Protect on the Jellicent, but Garchomp does in fact die to a Aqua Jet as well. But we do see Rough Skin, which allows Azumarill to die to Poison the very next turn, which allows Deoxys to come out, and because of that Spike, no longer has the Sash. As we see, Follow Me and Giga Drain is able to outspeed and kill the Deoxys, but recover onto the Jellicent, probably predicting a Giga Drain onto it. As we does do 65%, but an Iron Head is able to connect and flinch, which is very unfortunate for the Jellicent. Which that does mean that Giga Drain is able to kill the Jellicent with a crit. Crit mattered, obviously. So that will do it for me for now, but you guys will be watching the next couple battles right about now. So I updated the doc, I recorded the last battle and the document. I was getting ready to upload this, and I realized I did not record these two battles right here, so I'm going to do that real quick. Well, first off, we have the Inglorious Glygars taking on the Pendlington Politoads? Pendlington Politoads? Poly, facing against Poly. But anyway, we have Thunderous Togetic, Slacking Mamoswine, Rotom Heat, and Scizor versus Mega Manectric, Delphox, Ditto, Araquanid, Conkeldurr, and the Registeel. Mega Manectric and Ditto start off against Mamoswine and Togetic. Ditto transforms into the Mamoswine as the Manectric switches out into Araquanid. Follow Me as a superpower is obviously not going to do a thing to the Togetic. However, superpower takes out the Ditto Mamoswine. Mega Manectric comes out yet again, forces the Mamoswine to switch out into Rotom. As the Intimidate comes out, goes for the Volt Switch on the Togetic, only does 40, proving that it is in fact Eviolite, as Softbile brings it back up to 100% as Rotom just dies to the Liquidation. Thunderous comes out as Araquanid switches out into the Manectric again, does almost 50% for the Thunderbolt. That is just crazy damage from the Life Orb. But I do believe that the Glygars misclicked on the Toxic, as Volt Switch is not going to do well, actually it does over half, well, just about half, as Delphox does not eat that Thunderbolt well at all. As a Seismic Toss, it does in fact take out the Delphox, but Toxic damage doing its thing against the Togetic. Manectric comes out yet again, goes for a Follow Me with the Togetic, only does another 37%, switches out into Araquanid as a Volt Switch, brings the Araquanid down to 27%, switches out into Scizor as the Registeel goes for an Iron Head, not able to take it out, however, the Toxic is. Slacking comes out, gets hurt by the hazards, as Double Edge takes out the Araquanid, but doing some damage to himself as well. Superpower not able to kill the Registeel, and the Iron Head only does 16% to the Registeel, as we see leftovers on it. Manectric comes out yet again, as Slacking switches out into Thunderous, which dies to the Rock Comes in. That's actually Registeel's second kill of the game, as he full switches out into Conkeldurr as a U-turn onto the Conkeldurr, now switches out into the Mamoswine as a rest on the Registeel, which is super annoying already, as we see Slacking come out, get another Stealth Rocks damage as Knockoff gets rid of the item, as we see Breakneck Blitz just destroying the Conkeldurr, which is now, I believe, 0-7 in kills and death. Manectric comes out yet again as he decides to go for I don't know what he went for. Thunderbolt on the Slacking, not able to pick up the kill. However, the Sucker Punch is not able to kill the Manectric, as Volt Switch takes out the Scizor. Very nice play, as he Iron Head takes out the Slacking. That does allow Mamoswine to come out, get hurt by the rocks yet again. Earthquake, we see it as Scarfed Mamo taking out the Manectric, but Registeel is able to live, but not able to take on the Mamoswine with Iron Head, and then dies the very next turn to the Earthquake. Next up, we have the Wall Breakers, the Charlotte Wall Breakers, taking on the Twenta Tentacles. Where we have Empoleon, Wigglytuff, Miss Magius, Incineroar, Cresselia, and Tangela, taking on Lycanroc, Hippowdon, my gosh, Clawitzer, Pangoro, Stakataka, and Kyurem White. There we go. We have Hippowdon and Lycanroc starting off against Incineroar and Cresselia. This time he brings the Sand Stream, but does get the Intimidate, as we see a Protect on the Lycanroc, Protect on the Incineroar, and Rain Dance on the Hoopa. Damn you, Twenta, to have Hula Hoop as the Cresselia. It just makes me want to say Hoopa. Kyurem comes in after the Rain Dance, and so does Clawitzer, which Rain Dance actually does help the Clawitzer. Knockoff gets rid of the Iron Ball, as the Incineroar decides to go for a Protect. Ice Beam does minimal damage, 20%, but Heal Pulse brings the Kyurem back up to full. As now we see Incineroar switch out into Empoleon as an Icy Wind slows down both the Clawitzer and the Kyurem White, but does minimal damage anyway, as only 11% into the Empoleon, as well as Water Pulse does do about a quarter and gets the Confusion. Cresselia switches out into Wigglytuff, goes for the Frisk, switches out into Hippowdon, getting the Sand back up, as he goes for Flash Cannon, which still does pretty good damage, as Dark Pulse only does 11 behind the Light Screen and Reflect that Cresselia put up earlier. Empoleon switches out into Tangela on an Earthquake, does more to himself than he does to his opponent, as Toxic onto the Clawitzer, Heal Pulse onto the Hippowdon, bringing it back up to full health. With Clawitzer down to 36%, Stakataka comes out, but Clawitzer dies to a Giga Drain from the Tangela, as well as a Wish from the Wigglytuff. Kyurem White comes out yet again, which forces the Tangela to switch out into Cresselia and the Wigglytuff into Empoleon, as Stakataka goes for a Protect, and Ice Beam onto the Cresselia does do a 30% to it, which is a lot in my opinion, as Wish onto the Empoleon goes for Surf, does pretty good damage to the Stakataka, minimal damage to everything else, as a Draco Meteor is able to take out the Cresselia. As we see a Trick Room as well, allowing the Incineroar to come out, get the Intimidate off on the Stakataka, but Kyurem switches out into Hippowdon, getting the Sand back up as Stakataka goes for a Protect, and so does Empoleon. As Incineroar goes for the Corkscrew Crash, only does 42% to the Hippowdon. As Incineroar goes for the Protect yet again, as Earthquake, not going to do a whole lot because of the Sugar Berry, as Slack Off, bringing the Hippowdon back up to 94. However, Surf brings it back down to 16, and Stakataka is now at 5. Stakataka goes for a Protect yet again, as so does the Empoleon Knockoff, taking out the Hippowdon, so there goes the Sand in about 3 more turns. Pangoro comes out yet again, forces a switch out into Tangela and a Protect on the Incineroar, goes for an Earthquake, does pretty decent damage to the Pangoro, but only 6% to the Tangela, which this is actually a lot. I'm surprised Tangela took this much. It did 50% to the Tangela from a Drain Punch on the Pangoro, which forces a switch out into Miss Magius, as the Pangoro, knockoff onto the Stakataka is not going to do a thing because of the Protect, and the Sugar Berry, what? Why was it holding a Sugar Berry? I'm so confused right now. But anyway, Pangoro takes out the Miss Magius, misses the Toxic, which honestly, in my opinion, doesn't really matter too much, because Wigglytuff does die in the end, but anyway, he does miss the Toxic, which is very unfortunate. This is where I actually think misses matter. Drill Run is not going to do a thing to the Incineroar because of the Protect, and Sleep Powder, which is super unfortunate, misses the Pangoro, which allows knockoff onto the Tangela. As we see, Splintered Storm Shards takes out the Incineroar, and that does allow the Lycanroc be, well, vulnerable to a Giga Drain, but Drain Punch takes out the Tangela that no longer has the Eviolate, as I hiccup a bunch. Empoleon comes out versus a Kyurem and Pangoro, unable to kill the Kyurem with a Flash Cannon, but an Earth Power takes out the Empoleon, and the Wall Breakers win 2-0. Alright, so you guys will be seeing the last battle and the document update. Thank you guys for watching. Alright guys, here we are for another battle, and as you can see there's only one and there was 3 more to go. Thing is, I don't really like giving forfeits, especially when all 4 of them said that they can do it by Tuesday. I go, fuck it, I'll crack this time. They do have until Wednesday to do their battle, but I told them that they are not going to be on the recap. So that's their punishment for not getting it done by Sunday, is that they're not going to be on the weekly recap, and their stats are not going to go through. They're not going to have the mods of the week. I'm not going to go over it. The only thing that's going to count for the battle is the pick'ems, the game picks, that we'll be going over in a little bit. That's the only thing that's going to count because that affects everyone in the league. But anyway, we'll start off with this battle with the Registeelers taking on the Magikarps. And the Registeelers brought Mega Blastoise, Aegislash, Tapu Bulu, Nidoqueen, Raichu, and Reuniclus, while the Magikarps brought Naganadel, Ambipom, Zygarde 10%, Charizard, Mega Pidgeot, and Ferrothorn. We start off with Nidoqueen and the Raichu versus Pidgeot and Ambipom. Mega Evolution as Ambipom goes for the Fake Out to 66%. That is too much for a Fake Out. Hurricane does do a good chunk to the Nidoqueen as well. Thunderbolt, unfortunately, the Lightning Rod brings it over to Raichu, which basically is wasted. Eats another Hyper Beam, but a return knocks out the Raichu, as Sludge Bomb only does 60%. I only say 60 because it could have been more. Mega evolves for the Blastoise as a recharge for the Pidgeot. Protect knockoff does not do a thing, and unfortunately it kills himself with a confusion hit. Hurricane does do 40%, which is nice damage to the Blastoise, but Water Pulse does take out the Blastoise, getting some life back for the Registeelers. Knockoff onto the Colbur Berry only does a quarter damage, as Aura Sphere does not take out the Ferrothorn. However, Hidden Power Fire is crit does not matter, obviously. Naganadel comes out now as goes for a Protect on the Blastoise. Dark Pulse takes out the Reuniclus with a crit. I do believe the crit mattered that time. I'm not too sure though, as Knockoff doesn't do too much. Well, it doesn't do anything, excuse me. King Shield onto the Aegislash's Flamethrower is not going to do anything to it. Return does do 41, which is crazy amount of damage. But Aura Sphere, excuse me, is able to take out the Ambipom. Charizard comes out as Aegislash lives the Flamethrower because of the Oko Berry. However, Blastoise does not live the Inferno Overdrive, which does in fact hit. Aegislash changes its stance, goes for a Shadow Claw, does do pretty good damage to Naganadel, but does not die. Aegislash is able then to kill Naganadel, save differential, but then dies to the Heat Wave from the Charizard, and that does allow the Zygarde to come in, as Charizard lives the Zen Headbutt pretty easily. Goes for an Extreme Speed, not able to kill, unfortunately, but Heat Wave is, and that is a 2-0 win for Jake the Cows. We'll go over to the Mons of the week, and we actually have a 5-way tie. I was just really lazy. I didn't want to enter the pictures for all 5. But Charizard from the Magikarps and the Mamoswine from the Glygars are also considered into this. That was just a reminder for myself. Pangoro from the Wall Breakers, Gourgeist from the Solar Beams, and Zapdos from the Infernape. All 5 of them were 3-0 this week. There was another 3-1. I didn't really remember what it was, but anyway, it's there. So because of those 2 battles that have not happened yet, this is going to change a little bit. The Wild Meowth could easily win and be, I believe that would put them 3rd, I want to say. But I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, nothing too drastically would change for the Beedrills and Rapidashes. The only thing would change is if the Beedrills win, they'd go up to 6th place. No, Rapidashes would win, they'd go up to 6th place, but that's really it. League leaders. We will have Jellicent at 4.78, Pissimian at 4.833, Moltres, Alolan Persian, and Amoonguss all at 5. Mega Steelix is at 5.25, Ferrothorn is at 5.375, Hippowdon is at 5.61, Mudsdale is at 5.78, and Arcanine is at 6.19. This is probably going to change pretty much, really drastically, next time for these two, because Lycanroc still have another battle to go. So next time that we see this, they should have 2 battles. Over for the offensive, we have Kyurem White at 10-5, Torkoal at 10-2, Celesteela at 11-8, Aegislash at 11-5, Goodra at 11-4, Venusaur at 12-5, Mega Swampert at 12-2, Mega Alakazam 13-5, Heatran 13-4, and Genesect 13-2. We'll go over to the pick'ems right now, as I should have done that first. But anyway, Geeko is now at 20 at 2021. Tempest is at 22. Killer is at 25. Mike 29. Holly 30. Lucy 34. Kid Icarus 38. Pearl 38. Omega 39. Twenta is at 40. Hoobi at 44. And I am currently at 51. We'll go over to the schedule. Yep, you guys can see this. As I'm actually going to pull up Discord so I can say who I chose. Actually, I did not do this yet. So this is, just so give me a second, make sure I don't mess up. But anyway, we have the Kartanas and the Infernape. I'm actually going to go with the Kartanas in this one. Goodras versus the Bouffalants. You know I got to represent the Bouffalants, although that's a very tough battle for us. I'm going to go with the Bouffalants. Wild Meowth and the Magnemitans, I'm going to go with the Wild Meowth. They have been red hot 5 in a row before they face against the Lycanrocs. But we'll definitely see what happens there. Registeelers and Rapidashes, I'm going with the Registeelers. Glygars and Beedrills, I'm going with the Glygars. Polytoads and Wall Breakers, that one's going to be a very good one. Although the Polytoads have been kind of slacking the last couple of weeks, they've lost 4 out of the last 5, so I am going to go with the Wall Breakers. Magikarps and Tentacools, I'm going to go with the Magikarps. They have been great this season. Lycanrocs and the Tauros, I'm going to go with the Tauros. The Tauros are the best record in the league. And then finally, the Solar Beams versus the Heracross. I am going to go with the Solar Beams, although the Heracross have won 2 out of the last 3, I believe it was. No, won 2 out of the last 4, excuse me. But anyway, that will do it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.